Have you ever spent thousands on a PC only to launch a game and still experience stuttering? Maybe you're getting 100 FPS, yet every few seconds the game freezes for just a split second. It doesn't matter whether you're using an RTX 4060 or an RTX 5090. Doesn't matter if you've got a Ryzen 9 or Intel Core Ultra processor. Stuttering can affect almost any gaming PC. So why does it happen? Is your hardware faulty? Do you need more RAM? Or are modern games simply becoming harder to optimise? The answer is, it's usually a combination of several different things. Let's break them down. FPS isn't everything. The first mistake many people make is assuming FPS tells the whole story. Imagine you're averaging 120 frames per second. Sounds smooth, right? Well, not necessarily. What actually matters is something called frame time. Think of FPS as how many pictures your computer draws every second. Frame time is how evenly those pictures are delivered. If one frame takes 8 milliseconds, the next takes 9, then another takes 8, everything feels smooth. But suddenly one frame takes 50 milliseconds, even though your average FPS is still high, you'll notice a visible hitch. That's stuttering. This is why two PCs showing exactly the same FPS can feel completely different. Shader compilation. Probably the biggest cause of modern stuttering, shader compilation. When you load a new area, meet a new enemy, or trigger a special effect, the game often has to compile shaders. Think of shaders as instructions telling your graphics card how to draw reflections, lighting, shadows, particles, and countless other visual effects. Some games compile every shader before you start playing. Others compile them while you're playing. Guess which option caused stuttering? Exactly. This is why you'll often notice stutters during the first hour of gameplay, but much few afterwards. Games like Hogwarts Legacy, Jedi Survivor and many Unreal Engine 5 titles have all suffered from shader compilation stutters. CPU bottlenecks. Many people immediately blame their graphics card, but your CPU is just as important. The CPU handles things like NPC behaviour, physics, AI, traffic, world simulation and preparing frames for your GPU. If your CPU can't prepare frames quickly enough, your expensive graphics card ends up waiting, which again feels like stuttering. This is especially noticeable in open world games with hundreds of characters and vehicles. VRAM. Your graphics card doesn't just need power, it also needs memory. That's VRAM. Modern games use enormous textures, high resolution shadows, ray tracing, massive open worlds. If a game runs out of VRAM, it has to constantly move data between your graphics card and your system memory. That process is much slower. The result, micro stutters. This is why lowering texture quality often removes stuttering, even when your FPS barely changes. RAM. System RAM can also be responsible. If you only have 8GB of RAM today, many modern games will struggle. Even 16GB is beginning to feel like the minimum for newer AAA games. When Windows runs out of available RAM, it starts using your storage drive as virtual memory. Even fast SSDs are far slower than actual RAM. That delay can introduce noticeable stuttering. Storage speed. Speaking of SSDs, storage speed matters far more than it used to. Many modern games constantly stream textures, buildings, audio, animations, and map data while you're playing. If your storage can't deliver those files quickly enough, the game pauses while waiting. That's another source of stuttering. It's one reason why developers now recommend SSDs instead of hard drives. Background applications. Sometimes the problem isn't even the game. Background programs can suddenly use CPU resources. Windows Update, antivirus scans, RGB software, Discord overlays, browser tabs, recording software. All of these compete with your game. Even if it's only for a split second, that's enough to interrupt frame delivery. Drivers. Graphic drivers can both fix and create problems. Sometimes a new driver dramatically improves performance, other times it introduces bugs. If a game suddenly starts stuttering after updating your GPU drivers, it isn't always your imagination. Sometimes rolling back to an older driver actually solves this issue. Unreal Engine 5. If you've played modern games recently, you've probably noticed Unreal Engine 5 appearing everywhere. It's an incredible powerful engine, but many Unreal Engine 5 games have launched with performance issues. Large open worlds, looming lighting, nanite geometry, real-time streaming, all push modern hardware incredibly hard. When developers don't optimise these systems properly, even the fastest PCs can struggle. Poor optimisation. Now sometimes it's simply just the game's fault. Not every game is equally well optimised. Developers have deadlines, publishers want releases. Sometimes games launch before optimisation is finished. No amount of expensive hardware can completely fix poor optimisation. That's why two games can look almost identical, yet one runs perfectly while the other constantly stutters. Can you fix it? The good news: sometimes updating drivers can help. Closing unnecessary background applications can help. Installing games on an SSD can help. Reducing texture quality can reduce VRAM usage. Limiting your FPS can improve frame consistency. Enabling technologies like DLSS or FSR may also reduce your CPU and GPU load depending on the game. But sometimes there's simply nothing you can do. If the stuttering comes from poor optimisation or shader compilation, only the developer can truly fix it through updates. Conclusion. So why do PC games stutter? It's rarely because your PC isn't powerful enough. More often, it's because modern games have become incredibly complex. Shader compilations, VRAM limitations, CPU bottlenecks, storage speed, background applications, drivers and optimisation can all contribute to stuttering. That's why even a £3,000 gaming PC isn't guaranteed to provide a perfectly smooth experience. The good news is that understanding the cause is the first step towards fixing it. And while some problems are out of your control, many can be improved with the right settings and a bit of troubleshooting. If you found this video helpful, leaving a like or subscribing would help a lot. And let me know in the comments what's the most frustrating game you've ever experienced stuttering in.